glorious geeks! Stick with me today because each story sounds like it came straight out of Hollywood. So hit that subscribe button, click the notification bell, follow us, and please like this video. If you don't already know this news, get ready because your head's about to explode. From 2016 to 2018, US diplomats and CIA officers in Cuba, Russia, and China started suffering from the same symptoms, and they all had a similar mysterious story. They would hear a weird noise, usually in the middle of the night, like a crackling noise, and then would start feeling intense pressure in their head, tingling, dizziness, and nausea. The symptoms stayed and turned into debilitating headaches, memory loss, vertigo, and bloody noses. These symptoms stumped government investigators, and so the State Department commissioned a study by the National Academies of Sciences, which was just publicly released, and which found that these individuals had suffered brain injuries likely caused by directed pulsed radio frequency energy, kind of like if they stood in front of a really massive microwave. Oh my world! The US government hasn't said who caused these attacks or even if it knows who's behind them, but we know that they believe the Russian government might be behind them because one investigation that looked at cell phone data found that individuals linked with Russian security services were near these US officials before they started experiencing the symptoms. Russia and Cuba have of course denied knowing anything, but as you can imagine, I put as much stock in that as when my toddler tells me he brushed his teeth. While the US government doesn't seem to have enough evidence to officially accuse Russia or anyone yet, nothing has happened to even convey that the perpetrator will suffer consequences. And these several dozen diplomats and intel officers who were serving our country in adversary territory at great risk to their lives have been unable to get much information out of the government and in many cases have been prevented from getting the medical care they so desperately need. The thing I can't wrap my mind around is why there isn't more outrage over this and why there hasn't been more coverage. These are US officials who were attacked while on the job, and our lack of a tough response sends a message to the perpetrator that we don't really care. So if you think they're gonna stop or not do it on US soil, then think again. All I can say is that the US government better get to the bottom of this fast, punish the perps, and get those who are suffering the help they need. The EU this week passed legislation that would allow them to sanction human rights abusers anywhere in the world, which means they can freeze their assets, prevent anyone in Europe from doing business with them, and prevent these abusers from traveling to the EU. Now, you all know I'm a sanctions nerd, and so I get excited over these things. But this is a big deal. The bill is called the Magnitsky Act, which is named after Russian lawyer Sergei Magnitsky, who died while in custody in 2009 after being arrested and tortured by Russian government authorities following a massive fraud scheme he'd exposed that involved Russian officials. Magnitsky's client, Bill Browder, has since fought a fierce campaign to get countries to pass legislation that would sanction the thugs that were involved, and from there it expanded into an effort to sanction human rights abusers and corrupt actors globally. We have this law here in the US, and I'm excited about the EU passing it because it means we can go after these assholes together. Who better to talk about this than Bill Browder himself? He's the head of the Global Magnitsky